Anya, you actually, some of your research, just very briefly, what some of the topics that have been pointed out there about the way that men and women are hired differently.
Yeah. So actually it's the research from Abigail Player and Georgina Rensley-Morder that I've mentioned earlier that shows that whereas, and I think you were touching on this, so whereas men are appointed based on their potential, women have to demonstrate that they've already done the job, they've already performed. So that's exactly what their research is showing.
So I met someone recently at another similar event to this, and they said that women actually, so if there's a job application and they look at it and there's 10 skills on there, if the woman doesn't get 9 or 10 out of that, they're less likely to go for the job, whereas a guy will only tick 5 or 6 of those and he'll still apply for that job.
How much is this a confidence issue?
We and Rhiannon can perhaps talk about this, but part of our extended business is supporting a network of 8,000 women working in the city. We also then work with banks to help them recruit those women. Yeah, to your point, we have to work a lot harder to persuade a woman to apply for the job to start with, because she needs to tick all the boxes. Yeah. Whereas, I'm a bullshitting man, or I can do 3 of them, so hey. But recruiters need to understand that, and they don't, because they're targeted on time to hire and cost of hire. Coming back to something I was saying earlier. But then it's not just applying for the job; it's then making sure that you're preparing for interview properly, because you prepare for interview in a different way. And you take longer about it because you're typically more adverse to risk. And at the time when the man is negotiating his salary, you're still thinking about whether you want to take the job. So if large businesses want to recruit the best person for the job, they've got to change the way they recruit.
Yeah.
Jonathan. Yeah, I think this is really, really interesting. I must admit, I'm a bit nervous about experience, because what I find is experience tends to cause people to sometimes to become institutionalised. So when we're looking for, you just take the lawyers for example, if we're looking for a different attitude to risk, a different attitude to creativity, if they've just had 10, 15 years of experience, often they're just dreary and actually pretty useless. So if you were looking for people who have done something a little bit different, I remember the first HR person who joined the business right at the beginning, and she was an Oxford graduate. She'd had a good background in HR roles, and then she had 9 years out to have a child, and she kept saying, I'm so appreciative of the opportunity here, because all her confidence was shot to pieces. And she said, and I haven't got the relevant experience. And I remember thinking, so okay, you don't have some of the legal up-to-date knowledge. Hey, you're surrounded by that. And in terms of experience, I'd like somebody who has insight into people, insight into dispute resolution, insight into the challenges faced where there's disagreement, there's a need to incentivize, to motivate. You think, well, wow, bringing up some children is a pretty good qualification for that. And actually, for what she was doing, her experience in childcare was actually a phenomenally valuable asset. But to her, it wasn't a valuable asset. To her, it was an impediment. To me, it was a skill set.
Dare I say, I may express an opinion, but I interviewed someone, a business owner. She was the managing director of the company, and she said oh well, what the business was going through a difficult stage. She said, well, what do I know? For 8 years I was just a mum, and I thought that was very sad. Actually, I remember saying to her, well, you don't never say that ever again. That's the one thing.
What's really interesting here is the. Sorry, go on.
No, it's just a one-liner. I do think there's a difference between 10 years' experience and 1 year's experience 10 times.
Yeah. Sure.
So coming back to some of the things that you're saying there, what is really interesting about a woman a person who has chosen to take a career break for parental leave, and let's use correct language, there's often a confidence issue. You coach that and get through that. Is actually there's more often than not there's a huge passion and desire to catch up on their careers, to achieve, to do something which isn't there in a 40 or 50-year-old man who is stale and grey. It's about proving yourself, catching up and doing those things. The women returners that we work with have just proven that time and time again.